Good evening, precious friends. Welcome back to the Carnivore Hippie channel. You know, most of us have had the thought, I really messed up today. I'm just going to have to be tougher on myself tomorrow. Or, I had a cookie today, can only have salad tomorrow. Or, I'm going to have to do 30 extra minutes on the treadmill to make up for that. Whatever it was. Some kind of thought like that. Your tough love just seems like the right thing to do, doesn't it? If we let ourselves indulge in our undesired behavior without consequences, doesn't that mean we're not trying? Doesn't it mean accepting defeat? You know, even if we're overwhelmed, isn't that just blaming our circumstances and not taking responsibility? If we don't discipline ourselves, we just keep on slipping back until we've lost all of our progress, and then what's the point, right? If we don't make doing the wrong thing more uncomfortable than doing the right thing, then we'll never be successful. Well, tough love might be the right way to handle, say, an unruly pet dog or a spoiled child, but is your undesired behavior happening because you're spoiled? Or just because you don't see why you should have to follow any rules? Or is your undesired behavior happening because you're just too tired? You've come to the end of your patience and you don't have the energy to force yourself to comply anymore. Are you really just indulging in a pampered attitude? Or are you looking for genuine comfort and relief in the only way you really know how to obtain it? You know, everybody comes to the end of their rope at some point. Mental and physical energy are finite, and the world can be cruel. Circumstances do not take our weaknesses into account. Shit just happens sometimes because it happens, and there's nothing we can do about it except just get through it any way we can. Sometimes that means letting ourselves off the hook. Changing ingrained behaviors is hard. It requires focus, concentration, and lots of mental and physical energy. But what if we just don't have it? Is there ever a time when it's okay to just throw up our hands and say, fuck it, I can't do this right now? Optimally, no. But life is rarely optimal. There will come a time when you just don't have it in you to deal effectively with the stress and the requirements of a self-improvement program at the same time. And what then? Sometimes we just let ourselves believe the world is just not going to let us have success. And so we may as well just give up and get used to being sick. We're obviously not strong enough. Life's just going to keep smacking us down no matter what we do. You know, when some kind of failure is inevitable and every failure feels potentially permanent, it becomes impossible to stay motivated. Well, here's how that thinking changed for me. Today is today. It is not any other day. And what happens today does not necessarily predict what is going to happen on any other day. Giving myself permission to not be able to handle everything all at once is not the same thing as giving myself permission to not move forward and stay stuck. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a recognition that my energies are finite, and it behooves me to learn to manage them effectively. Resources that are managed effectively have a much better chance, are much more likely to be useful and productive in the long term. My next change in thinking is perhaps surprisingly not How do I keep from lapsing again? But what led up to the lapse? And what was I looking for that I decided to use food or some undesired behavior to satisfy? The, this analysis can be done without the need for guilt or self-punishment. It's the answer to these two questions that will lead to the answer of the previous question. Self-care is the tool that will lead us to be able to effectively manage our energy, which will lead us to be able to head off many situations which overwhelm us and result in lapses. So do we prioritize sleep? Do we make time for creativity? Do we have a regular practice of some activity that creates feelings of well-being? You know, that good old dopamine serotonin cycle, and that does not involve food or whatever the undesirable behavior is? Are we able to say no when other people are asking us for favors that we really don't have the energy for? Do we truly understand our own needs for community or solitude, rest or exercise, activity or stillness? Are we honestly acknowledging our tolerances for stress, tedium, concentration and focus, or professional and social pressure? You know, accepting the reality of a lapse is not about avoiding responsibility. It can and should be the trigger to exploring and understanding a broad range of self-care behaviors which can build stamina, resilience, perseverance, and long-term motivation. So, if you haven't already, begin looking for the things in life that make you feel good, that do not involve any undesired behavior. Along with that, prioritize sleep. I myself do not permit any interaction with the outside world between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. My phone is on silent. I don't consume any news on the TV or the internet. And I don't make calls or even really check my messages except on rare occasions. I reserve a winding down period of 1 to 2 hours before sleep time. And I also practice meditation, especially during times of stress. For my self-care, I also reserve an hour after waking on most days for coffee and solitude with my pets and contemplation. I practice creativity in the form of crochet and in making content for this channel. I feed my brain and my imagination with reading and listening to interesting speakers. And I've been lucky enough to integrate my physical exercise with my work in the form of a physically active job in retail. Your self-care routine may not look like mine, nor should it. What's important is that your routine makes you feel mentally and emotionally cared for, and that it helps you feel physically well, or at least that you're on the way to being physically well, and that it's motivating. You don't have to come up with a comprehensive routine all at once. Mine's been evolving for quite a few years now into what it looks like today. Just start with one thing at a time and add things as they feel appropriate. And above all, please don't turn it into another job. If what you really need for self-care is just to do nothing, then do that. Taking time to care for your own well-being is not selfish, unless that's the only thing you ever take time to care about. And which I strongly suspect does not apply to anybody who's watching this right now. One of my favorite phrases or sayings is, you cannot serve others out of an empty vessel. Not only is it okay for you to take care of yourself, it's your responsibility. When you learn to appropriately take care of yourself, your capacity to be a positive force in the world actually increases. Thank you for joining me, precious friends. We are going to talk more about new tools very soon. But until then, I wish you peace, love, and meat. And we will talk again soon. Bye-bye.